What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's Tuesday, October 7th. And, man, we got the Rio card coming up right around the corner. It's going to be a good weekend of fights. Before we jump into the Rio card, because they did release the initial betting lines, the money lines and stuff like that, the Conor McGrefor suspension. I know a lot of people were freaking out and were like, man, Conor just can't get right. He's going to be screwed for the White House card. But it is a retroactive suspension. It was initially 24 months, down to 18 months now. And it starts from the last day, and that was September 20th, 2024. It was a fail to notify whereabouts. So he didn't fail a test. It was just when you're in the testing pool, you have to let the commission know exactly where you are every single time they ask. And he had one of June 13th, September 19th, and September 20th of 2024. So it was initially 24 months. It got retroactive down to the beginning date of the September 20th offense, and it's 18-month suspension. So he'll be ready to fight at the soonest March 20th, 2026. So it doesn't affect him. He wasn't trying to fight until the White House card anyway. So all good with Conor. He does what the fuck he wants. The double champ does what the fuck he wants. But that's what's going on with Conor now. So into UFC Rio, like I said, initial betting lines have just come out. It's all money lines right now. I'm going to get into a few fights that I'm looking at eyeballing for possible bets and just fights that I'm looking forward to seeing. First fight, Julia Pilastri comes out minus 500 versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She's plus 390. Karolina's coming off 2-fight losing skid. She was coming off 3-fight win streak, loses her last 2. Julia Pilastri coming off a loss against, I believe, Lupe Godinez, which is not a bad loss, and it was a decision loss. But they're having Pilastri beating Kowalkiewicz, and I really like Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I've always liked her. The last time I saw her live, I believe, was UFC Dallas when Tyron Woodley fought the Gorilla Darren Till for the welterweight title. And Karolina had her on one of my parlay bets. If she would have won, I would have won big. But then she ended up getting just absolutely mauled and knocked out by Jessica Andrade. And after that fight is what springboarded Andrade into her title run, winning the title and whatnot. But I think this one's pretty clear cut. They have Pilastri at minus 500, so I'd go Pilastri for right now until they, the prop bets come out with subs and KO, TKO, whatever. I might look at it different, but for right now, Pilastri minus 500 is a pretty safe bet. The next fight, it's a heavyweight fight, Muhammad Usman versus Walter Walker. Walter Walker is, of course, the younger brother of Johnny Walker. That line comes out minus 330 for Walter Walker, minus 240 for Muhammad Usman. I like Muhammad Usman. He's a good dude. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in passing during training and stuff. But Walter Walker is coming off 3 wins, and all 3 by heel hook submission. That guy hunts the feet, he hunts the heels, and he gets it on the ground and from a standing position. I mean, he will hunt those down. And these heavyweights are just not ready for that style of submissions, that style of grappling from a bigger guy. So I like Muhammad. He's very athletic, strong guy. I got to see him come up through the regional ranks and now in the UFC, but this is just a bad matchup for him. Just a really bad matchup for him. I think Walter Walker is going to come out, try to crowd the space early, and then try to pin him up against the cage, try to get in body lock positions, and then he's going to just dive down under for a heel hook again, or get him down and then try to work from there. But I'm going to go Walter Walker on this one. He's a big favorite, minus 330. But like I said, maybe later on in the week when they release the prop bets, I'd really bet heavy on submission by Walter Walker. The next fight is a landslide, or it's just a huge gap in the betting lines. It's Bia Mesquita versus Irina Alekseeva. Bia Mesquita is the biggest betting favorite on this entire card. From bottom to top, early prelims to main card, She's a minus 670. Irina Alexkaseva is plus 430. I like Bia Mesquita. She's an amazing person. I've had the opportunity and privilege of meeting her. She came and did a seminar at the academy where I train at, Alvarez Jiu-Jitsu. Shout out to them. Great lady, an amazing grappler, and she's a dog. Like, she is not afraid to get dirty and mix it up. And as soon as the fight hits the mat, it's pretty much game over. Her grappling, her jiu-jitsu is so far head and shoulders above the rest of the girls in that division that when it gets there, it's pretty much over. She will find a way to take your arm, take your neck, strangle you, sub you. She's nasty with it. Bia Mesquita, I would wait till the prop bets come out and I would bet heavy on the sub for Bia Mesquita. Let's see. We have Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. Almeida's plus 118, Aswell is minus 150. Aswell's actually coming off a loss. I think he only has one fight in the UFC. Lucas Almeida is I believe he's 1-2 in his last 3. I'm pretty sure Aswell's fight was short notice, and they still have him as a favorite over a guy who's already has 3 fights in the UFC, and he's 1-2. I've seen Lucas Almeida fight. I haven't seen Aswell fight, but Almeida just hasn't shown me anything like that just jumps out at me. I think they have it right. I'd go Michael Aswell to get the win versus Lucas Almeida. And then I'm going to jump right back into another heavyweight bout. Jonathan Diniz versus Mario Pinto. Mario Pinto from Portugal. He's plus 150, or he's minus 106, I'm sorry. Jonathan Diniz is minus 120, so he's a slight favorite. I like Jonathan Diniz. He's a big boy. Mario Pinto is pretty good too. Like, I like the way he fights. But they're in Brazil. I think Diniz can just squeak this one by. I don't know if it's going to be by knockout. I think his last 3 might have been decision victories. I'm not sure, and I don't have my phone in front of me. But I'd go Jonathan Diniz on this one. And then the big 3 that I want to really go over, the former 2-time flyweight champion, Davison Figueiredo, Figgy, plus 220. He is an underdog against Montel Jackson. Figgy is ranked number 6 in bantamweight right now. Montel Jackson is ranked number 15, and they have Montel Jackson as a huge favorite. Minus 295 against the former champ, Davison Figueiredo. Montel Jackson is 3-0 in his last 3, coming off big wins. The last one was really amazing. And Figgy, of course, coming off the loss to Corey Sandhagen, which I'm surprised he's back. The way that they were entangled, their leg entanglements, and then when Corey sat up and really put pressure, I thought Figgy blew his knee out. I thought it was a complete MCL, ACL, meniscus tear. And here he is. He's back in Rio. And that fight was not too long ago. They're really believing in Montel Jackson. To have him a bigger favorite as he is over Figueiredo is kind of crazy, but I've seen Montel Jackson. He's really looks good. I think he's one of those blue chip prospects that you have to keep your eye on, man. Because if he can get this win against Figgy in Brazil and get it done in a dominant fashion, like I said, he's 15, Figgy's 6. If he can stop Figgy, he's going to just catapult himself into the top 6, 7 in that division. And there's going to be, and that's what that division needs. 135 needs contenders right now because the way Merab's going, he's beat everybody. Now he's probably going to end up fighting Piotr Jan again, and he's already beat him. You know, I think the only guys he hasn't beat is Song Yadong. I think he's ranked number 5. Figgy's at 6. He hasn't fought Figgy, but Figgy's coming off a loss. If Montel Jackson can get in there and get a couple more wins at that level, it's inside the top 5, I could see another opponent for Merab on the horizon in Montel Jackson. So I'd go Montel Jackson for that fight. The next fight, man, Vicente Luque, unfortunate for him. He was scheduled to fight Santiago Ponzinibbio. I thought that was going to be a really good fight because the guys are both pretty close in age. They're both getting older. They both like to slug. They both like to throw hands. They like to stand up. And Santiago Ponzinibbio pulls out of this fight. I haven't seen anything, whether it was an injury or for whatever reason. But unfortunately, he pulls out. And then unfortunately for Vicente Luque, he draws Joel Alvarez from Spain. The guy's coming off 3 wins. The huge flying knee knockout over Drakkar Klose. I mean, he knocks Drakkar Klose out cold. He hits the cage, falls back into Joel Alvarez. He cups his head like he's going to do like a guillotine, but he's kind of limp still. But Joel Alvarez didn't know he was out already. And so he just starts socking him in the fucking face right here. And then I think he looks down and lets him go, and fucking Drakkar Klose just falls down like a sack of potatoes. This is going to be a tough test for Luque. You know, I thought he had a very favorable matchup against Santiago Ponzinibbio, but Joel Alvarez is another animal, man. This guy's young. He's hungry. He's minus 520 against Vicente Luque plus 350. I think this is going to be one of those prop bet fights where you might want to go Alvarez by knockout, maybe Luque by submission, depending how it looks. But yeah, man, that should be an interesting fight. Like I said, unfortunate for Vicente Luque. I thought he had a really good matchup with Ponzinibbio. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And then, of course, the main event, Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot actually comes out as a favorite at minus 120 over Charles Oliveira's minus 106. Man, this is a hard one because we've seen what happens to guys who get knocked out and then turn around quickly. Your brain just doesn't have enough time to recover. You know, we saw with Volkanovski, he goes up, short notice against Islam, gets head kicked, knocked out cold. Then he does a short turnaround, fights Ilya for the 45 title, defend his title, and then gets knocked out by Ilya. Man, it's hard because we've seen it so many times now when it happens, when the guys just come back too fast. But on the other side, I will say this. Since 2020, Charles Oliveira has lost 2 times. And the 2 losses are to the number 1 and number 2 pound-for-pound champions in the entire world, and that is Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. Those are his only 2 losses since 2020. And if this fight would have been booked, the initial fight versus Oliveira versus Gamrot, if this would have happened 6 months ago, people would be in like, why is this fight even happening? And I think Oliveira would have came out minus 350, maybe minus 400 against Gamrot. But coming off the knockout, Gamrot steps in short notice. It's going to be interesting because, I mean, I think Oliveira can beat him on the feet, and I think he can beat him on the ground. The question that we all have is is Charles Oliveira recovered enough to be able to take a shot? Because he does get hit. That's why everybody picked Ilia Topuria to knock him out. That's why I picked him to get knocked out by Ilia. He can strike, but he strikes in a straight line. He doesn't move his head. He doesn't get out the center line. He doesn't cut angles. He's not just that type of striker, man, and that's unfortunate for him because Gamrot is not known to be a knockout artist, but he will land some big shots. And if he does land a shot that catches Oliveira right on the chin or on the temple or anywhere in the head, you know, we're just going to be holding our breath, just wondering if he's going to be able to just take that shot because, like I said, we've seen it before. Guys that come back too quick, the brain's not fully healed, man, especially after a knockout that he suffered against Ilya. So this will be interesting, but I will still bet. As far as right now, money line bets only, Oliveira to win. You know, he might be compromised, but he's still Charles Oliveira, and he's still only lost to the 2 best guys in the world right now. So I'd go Charlie Olos to get the win over Mateusz Gamrot. And then just to wrap things up, I saw that they had, it's on the internet all over the place, Ilya versus Gaethje, Max Holloway versus Paddy the Baddy. Nothing is official. Nothing has been announced officially by the UFC. So it's all hearsay, naysay, all rumors. And I'm not mad at it. You know, honestly, though, I don't mind Ilya Gaethje because it's going to be a fight that we like to see. I think Ilya puts Gaethje away under 2.5 rounds. Just personally, I think he does. And then the Max Patty fight, interesting. Max, now that he's back up at 55, he's going to fully put on some good weight. And he's going to have to, because Patty is a huge 55er. Max is a big 55er. I mean, I remember when he was still fighting at featherweight at 45, people said that he was walking around 190 pounds to fight at 45. So he's a big dude. He's got a big frame. He can hold the weight well. He showed against Justin Gaethje in their fight. But honestly, man, I mean, I'm not mad at these fights at all, but I would have liked to see Ilya Patty in Manchester at the O2 or in London at the O2. That would have been a huge fight to start off the year for the Paramount Plus streaming service. And I would have, honestly, I probably would have liked to see Max versus Dan Hooker, just for the whole BMF effect of it. I mean, you don't even have to put that belt on the line, but just to see those guys go at it, go to war. They're both dogs. I would have rather seen that. Gaethje probably should have fought Arman. I know Arman's fighting Hooker, but Gaethje, I never thought I would see the day where Gaethje was just complaining about not getting a shot, especially after you just got face planted and knocked out in the middle of the ring by Max Holloway, a 45er coming up to 55. But if it does get made, it is what it is. I won't mind seeing it. I think Ilya gets the win by knockout. I think Max Patty's going to be an interesting fight. If Patty can't get Max down and hold him down and find a way to his back, it's going to get real interesting, because Max has proven that he can find a way to keep the fight off the mat, keep it standing, and hunt for those knockouts. So either way, I probably would have had a couple other matchups in mind, but I'm not mad with these two. So, I mean, we've got a great fight weekend this weekend, and then next week I believe we have another pay-per-view coming up. So not a bad time to be a fight fan, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.